Good morning. We've been talking about different aspects of anticipatory grief and just, things that we need to do to take care of ourselves. One of the symptoms of anticipatory grief is actually frustration. I'm a pretty high-strung person, but I have in the past had a really high frustration tolerance. But as I became a caregiver, more and more entrenched in that, I found myself becoming more easily frustrated. And I would take that out on family, friends. I wouldn't direct it toward my parents per se, but I also became very frustrated with myself. And so, frustration is the component that we're going to talk about today. And I just want you to know that according to the Family Caregiver Alliance, frustration and anger are definitely parts of that grieving process. Caregiving frustration is normal. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not a mean person, so don't beat yourself up for it. Frustration and stress will negatively affect your health. And when you're frustrated, you have to distinguish what's under your control and what isn't. Oftentimes we think that, especially when we're frustrated, one of the things that kind of gets under our skin is we think that our loved one knows that they're irritating us and that they're doing it on purpose. And some of our loved ones probably in the past have had personalities that were difficult to deal with, but regardless of that, you have no control over it. So we're going to talk about warning signs and coping mechanisms. Some of the warning signs include shortness of breath, stomach cramps, chest pain, headaches, increased alcohol consumption or drug consumption, and just the desire to strike out. You can have physical and bodily problems. As I told you guys before, I developed irritable bowel syndrome, and that is a horrible thing to have to contend with. But I've learned through changes in my diet and really changes in how I approach caregiving, I've found ways to minimize those symptoms. Another thing that I experienced as far as health concerns are concerned was that shortness of breath and those heart palpitations. I still struggle with the heart palpitations, but they're getting much better. One coping mechanism is to just calm down physically. Take deep breaths. Step away from the situation. If something kind of gets you heated and you feel yourself start escalating, just step away from the situation, close your eyes, and take deep breaths, at least 5. That will clear your mind, and then you can walk back into the situation and handle it more reflectively. Another thing you're going to have to do is change your thinking. Now, that's easier said than done. And, some of you may not realize it, but we tend to have a lot of negative thoughts as caregivers. Some people were prone to negative thinking before becoming a caregiver, and caregiving has only made that worse. So what I mean is that I want you to just stop when you hear yourself saying words like always or never. For example, I never do anything right. When am I going to be able to get this done? Daddy always does this, and I know he knows what he's doing. Those are examples of negative thinking. Okay, so you have to just really begin to be conscious of what you're saying and literally stop yourself. Now, if a friend asks you to go out to lunch with them, go. Okay? Don't accuse yourself of being selfish. You're not being selfish. Your friend asks you to go to lunch. Go to lunch. Your loved one is going to be okay for an hour. I'm not saying leave them alone, but get somebody to take care of them. Take them to an adult daycare. Just do something. But if somebody asks you to go to a movie or go to lunch with them, just go. You deserve it. You need it. Don't call yourself lazy if you can't do your chores. I'm not a neat freak, but I like to have my house look in a certain way. And for the past 2 years, my house has not looked the way I want it to look. I've been going through a lot of changes. We moved my parents in from Mobile. Then later on, when things got really difficult and I got really, really sick and they needed more care, they were moved to a memory care facility. So I still don't have everything done that I want to get done. And I've stopped beating myself up for it. I'm not lazy. I got a lot on my plate. So just remember that. Don't blame yourself if something goes wrong. Okay? You are not God. You are not omniscient. You are not omnipresent. Okay? You are not all powerful. Bad things are going to happen, and some of those things are going to be out of your control. So please accept that. And once something goes wrong, just focus on fixing it. Adapt to the new person that your loved one is becoming. That's going to be the hardest thing. You know, just learn how to be a flexible thinker, because the person that your loved one was yesterday may not be the same person today. The person that they were a minute ago may shift into someone totally different. So I just want to encourage you to learn to adapt to who they're becoming. The next thing I really want you to do as well is to respect your own feelings, your needs, and your desires. A lot of us are carrying around baggage from childhood, things that we thought we ran away from when we moved away from our hometowns. And it's normal to bring that family baggage into your caregiving relationship. But, you know, just, I don't really know how important this is for me to let you know. You're going to have to learn how to deal with the baggage. Counseling helps. Talking to friends helps. And depending upon the stage at which your parent is in their dementia, then you may be able to kind of talk to them about certain things that may have happened that you didn't weren't able to deal with as a child. Use I statements instead of you when talking to others. For example, instead of telling your sibling, you know what, you never help. I'm doing all of this work and you're just sitting there. You don't offer to do anything for me. So instead of saying you never help, say, look, I really need your help. So kind of try to restructure your thinking when it comes to that. And finally, when you've had enough and the frustration has just gotten to you and you just don't know what else to do, go to a different room and just have a flat out tantrum. Sometimes that's what we need to do. Just yell, scream, punch a pillow, just have a tantrum. So I hope this helps. And I have a new YouTube channel. It is Dementia Plus 3, DEMENTIA PLUS and the number 3. So what I'm doing is I'm posting these videos on there as well. So if you have a friend who doesn't necessarily want to join the group, they can see the videos on YouTube, and you can also go back and look at them as well. So you take care, and I just want you to know that I won't be seeing you guys until Monday. I've got family coming into town, and they're coming to see my parents, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I will see you next week. Bye-bye.